Or no, I'm long, dude. No, I'm long from 15. It looks like they're gonna stop me out on the runner. Because their NQ is very weak this morning. If it holds this 22, I like it. Where's the RTH one? NQ has to reclaim. It's reclaiming. Okay, yeah, look. That was fast, dude. Holy cow. See what it holds, but it's a lot of volatility this morning. I think that this likely fails and stops me out here at the overnight low. But the NQ is just severely weak. See if it can put in a failed breakdown of the overnight low on the Nasdaq, but it's really weak, severely weak on the Nasdaq. This is like a massive spread between the two. Right off the bat, NQ just started puking below the overnight low. See if the S&P can somewhat hold. Yeah, the Dow is coming down too. What is going on? The opening volatility today is crazy. Or where's the open at? Is it open near the IB? Oh, it is. We can reclaim 22s is a good reclaim spot. And I'm sorry, 26s. That's the current value high. That kind of keeps the breakout intact. But right now the volatility says we're going lower. If we can reclaim the overnight low on Nasdaq and S&P can get above 26s, I like it. I'd like to add more to this trade, but we'll see. Right now it traded 26, rejected. I think this wants to trade the overnight low first on the S&P. We'll see. The NQ's early morning weakness is noteworthy. Ugh. Yeah, NQ is breaking down further. What is the weakness in it today? Here's the 17s from yesterday's overnight high reclaim. Now this is a straight flush. There's my stop coming right up. Nasdaq still keeps going lower. Yeah, there's the flush, stopped out. Okay. This opening weakness is so interesting. They're hitting the overnight low already. This is definitely an opening test drive. Coming straight to the overnight low. Didn't even make a chance to get above the VWAP at the open. Only level below this I like is the 490s. Oh, I gotta refresh the gamma levels. What am I doing? Yeah, the put wall already faded out, huh? Let's see if it does a failed breakdown of the overnight low. Otherwise, it's continuation lower. And if it breaks down, it probably wants to trade the 82 below that. There's no real demand at all for bids. Today's going to be about the NASDAQ. Whatever the hell is going on with the NASDAQ, once that thing's done selling off, that's when we'll get a move in the opposite direction. Because that was the one that was opening near the low of the overnight when we opened up today. The reclaim here would be the 517. It's a nice reclaim. Decent one. That gets you back to the put wall. 17 to 26. I'll take that. Okay, it's getting over the overnight low. We can get over the 16 or 17 area here. This little low from yesterday's breakout. Where is the fail? This is not a, this is a reclaim. This level would be a reclaim. The 17s. The failed breakdown here. So where are your fake? Did you note them down yesterday? Do you have any levels for your failed breakdown that you've planned out for today? Like before I answer any questions, like where's your prep work? Is the important question here. Like do you have zones annotated already to consider where the failed breakdown is? Or are you just showing up here trying to figure it out? Overnight low is not a failed breakdown. Because the reason it's not is because this is where the breakout was yesterday. Right? So like yesterday's breakout was the overnight high at 17. And it broke, tested, came back in, retested. This is a reclaim more than it is a failed breakdown. Right? Remember I said yesterday, a failed breakdown is a structural higher time frame break. Overnight low is technically a break, but I would classify it as a reclaim because of what it is. It's a breakout from yesterday's breakout area. This is where the failed breakdown is for me. It's a higher time frame low, swing low down here. Right? It's near prior day low, a higher time frame area. Dow's recovering, but thank you is not. Let's see if it gets above that 17 spot. Oh. The only thing that's concerning is the NASDAQ. Dude, it is so weak today. It's very weak. Howdy. What's up, man? Howdy to you too. You're 17. Keeps hitting 17. No full reclaim yet. 17 again. Kind of bumping its head against this area. Yeah, it's still rejecting. Hey, good morning. How are you, brother? Let's put some music on. It's above the 17s. Maybe holds. No hold. All good in the hood. All right. That's good to hear. Yeah, it's still rejecting. I think this is more of a continuation lower. It's rejecting from below. I want to see this now at least break out. It's continuously being rejected here. I'm gonna see a breakout, test VWAP, and then hold for me when one long here. Because they keep trying, but it's just not enough. There's a lot of selling right there at 20s. The only setup I'll do right now is like if they probe this low and then hold it, I'll take it, but I'll have to scale right here. So like if they break 506, this little 506 area, and they reclaim right away, like it does like a 3-point probe right there, and then I'll long there and then scale at 17 where there's resistance and see if they can push higher from there. You're short? Nice. Close 3 in the morning. Nice. Well, that's amazing. Great short. So let's see if it either holds above this or it gets rejected. NQ is trying to recover, but it's definitely weak today. I don't know what it pertains to. Like all overnight, it was the weaker one. I don't know why. Here's the reclaim of 18. No stress. Heavy stress, yeah. Had to go for a walk. Yeah, I mean, yesterday's move up was very parabolic for sure. It was a very strong trend up, especially later afternoon. I was very impressed by the breakout yesterday afternoon. There's another push. I don't trust this reclaim, to be honest. Not yet. Because look at the NQ here. Still below the overnight low. See if they hold it. Only it's just I'm trading my own account. Something I need to work on. I traded. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's two different kinds of stressors for sure. I understand. Yeah, seller's still in control. They keep rejecting this area. Good short for a continuation lower. I personally will not be doing that. Yeah, sellers they really are holding below yesterday's breakout right here. I want to see them do a failed breakdown of this initial low then. Ideally, look, there's two scenarios here I kind of chalked up. So either we break below this area, reclaim, I'll long into 17. So long here. And then scale here where they're hitting this, where sellers are hitting the offer. Or they break out, NQ has to reclaim the Valor low and overnight low, and then I'll get long on the retest from above. Something like that. Oh, too cheap to sell. It's not a good, it's location wise, you're asking to get chopped. I agree. It's not, I personally don't like shorting in general or into the hole. Into the hole of the open. So see if they reclaim here. They're pushing away now. Question now is like if they pop into 20s, come back into 18s, can they hold? This is where they're holding right here. NQ is reversing. It's not above the overnight low yet. Still right underneath it. NQ is right into the cusp of the overnight low. I don't know. Let me see. I think it's 8. 8 ticks. An 8-tick Renko chart. Ocho. NQ looks pretty solid, like it wants to hold. I do agree, it looks clean. It looks like it's holding okay. Not bad. Pretty violent open for the most part, whatever that was about. YM pretty much recovered whatever that dip was, and it's right over VWAP now. The only lagging one is the NQ. I don't know, man. I still don't trust the NASDAQ. It's me a little sketched out, honestly, to be long here. My hesitancy is like has a lot to do with whatever the Nasdaq's doing right now, and it's just not what I want to see for me to want to have conviction on the long, at least at this area, at this price. We'll see though. I mean, definitely could be wrong. We probed the overnight low so quickly and then reclaimed. So this could be just been open test drive. So holding here and then reversing could be the trade here right off the overnight low, but we'll see. Yeah, Dow's going full rippy here. It's already near the high of the open. And then S&P came back to VWAP. I was thinking this is gonna fly. I don't have an entry. I probably missed the entry. Being too slow. I'm hoping for a pullback or more info. I missed the entry. For sure. So we'll see if it comes back to 18s. We'll need like about 13-point dip. We can come back to the 18 area where we reclaimed. But at this point, it ran over. It's already above EWAP and it's just consolidating over. So I assume they rip from here back to the whatever that gap is, because we had a gap down overnight. It's like the gap is at 10 points higher. Dow is still going. The NQ is the only laggard today. I'm watching NQ closely because it looks like it's holding over that overnight low. Not sure if it's going to sustain or pro back below. The prior day low is right behind it, right underneath the overnight low, or the current open low. Right here. There's a prior day low is right there. It's like close to it. So if it fades, I assume it might want to do something like that. Take out that priority low. Click on it. What's the beta? Click on it. It's for the journal. Please no. It's for the journal that I've been discussing. That I've been working on. So the journal will have a few different features. It's meant to just like here's the purpose of the journal. Well, there's a few different reasons, but number one, it's like if you just look at the main landing page, the second section, it kind of tells you more or less like what it will provide. I'll get more details as I start to kind of develop the features commercially. Right now, it exists only in my own computer. But it's primarily meant to keep you from blowing accounts, keep you from going on tilt, helping you track statistically where your targets should be on any given day, so you're not shooting for trades that are more than what the market is willing to provide. So that way you can secure profit. Track your stats on your trades, no matter which account you trade under, throughout the day. Now your stats, not mine, but yours, so that way you know where your expectancy is, so you know when your most profitable period is. So if you start trading in the morning and then there's a drop off in performance after 10 a.m. Eastern, or whatever time that may be for you, 11, 12 Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern, then you know that that period of time is not something you should be trading. Or if you will, then the analytics tab on that journal will tell you trade with smaller size, like quarter size or whatever, to protect your profits. It'll give you like some sort of assumption or a data to run with, or suggestions you should run if you're going to be trading in a period of time that's not profitable for you. It'll have like a chat, like an API where it pulls, you can queue it questions based on your data. So if you want to ask it anything specific about trade locations, where you've initiated trades, or where you've taken profits historically, you got to have enough data for it to work. Then it can give you specific answers based on your data. But primarily, like, just so you can stop blowing accounts. If you're funded or evaluations, like it puts a hard stop on you. It'll give you metrics it'll give you suggestions on where you should put those hard stops for the day. but you can ultimately decide for yourself. I mean, it'll give you the ability to do it to one account, multiple accounts for that lockout. Looking to see if they can put a trade syncer into it too. But that's an additional feature I haven't looked into, so I don't know if it's possible. But more or less just helping you stop blowing accounts primarily, like helping you with that state, whether that's fixing your take profits based on your data and using analytics to support that take profit area, and then fixing that expectancy drop off period where you say you start green for the day and then you end up red somehow, right? Those two things, because then that trickles into going on tilt. Like there's a lot of triggers that make you go on tilt, right? One is like you start green, then you lose a trade, now you're not as green, right? You take another one, then you go from green to flat, then you go from flat to red, and then from flat to blown. So I mean, there's triggers in place to help you mitigate those, but you have to put those guardrails up, and you have to respect them too, right? And that saves you resets or purchasing new evaluations. Or how many times have you had, I don't know, let's just say a good streak, a streak of green, and then one day ruined the whole week of gains, right? That is a feature in which it will take into consideration your 5-day rolling profit streak, and it'll give you a suggestion. Again, you have to respect the suggestions to protect that rolling window period, not by sizing down, but less frequency of trade. It'll kind of alert you if you take in more trades than you said you were going to, things like that. It's only as useful as you will give the tool to be useful to you. It will serve you if you give it the opportunity to do so. But if you don't, and you're just an undisciplined addict, it's not going to do anything for you. And that's the problem. I think a lot of people like the dopamine and they just don't have structure. And I'm hoping that this journal, I'm making it in a way where it forces you to be structured, to be disciplined. It forces you to, in an interactive way. So there's going to be some features where it'll be like a game, like it will try to make, I'm trying to make journaling fun, because I feel like that's a pain point for a lot of traders where they just don't like to journal. And the way I'm doing that is gamifying it, so it incentivizes you to journal, but also provides you like a reward streak. Not really like you get anything from it, maybe a dopamine hit, but you'll get like a reward streak every single day and a badge for every single day that you've tagged trades or journaled your trades, whatever that looks like to you. And if you have a rolling streak, kind of like Duolingo, where like, I don't know, I've never used Duolingo, but I've seen people be addicted to that thing because they are on a streak and they don't want to lose their streak. So I've incorporated that aspect of Duolingo into the trading journal, where you can have a streak of journaling or making notes. That streak reinforces behavior to build discipline, to be journaling and to be tagging trades and stuff like that, reviewing data. So I'm trying to create a system that enforces people to journal, so that way it reinforces discipline and reinforces the loss limits. Everything comes full circle. It'll, I mean, if people want to, if people use it to what it's meant for, I think it's a very valuable tool. Number one, it'll save you money on your evals, and it'll save you funded accounts if you ever go on tilt. And it's a tool that saves you money essentially, and funded accounts, but it's only as good as you respect the product. If you don't respect the product, I mean, ultimately you don't respect yourself. Therefore, it's not going to work. Here's a quote that is going to be on that journal. It said, "Having discipline is the greatest form of self-respect." Okay, I'll write it down here in case anyone missed it. Having discipline is the greatest form of self-respect. A harsh reality: you don't respect, you don't. Like, if you don't use the software that I'm curating and its features, you just don't respect yourself, right? So if you don't, that is something nothing can fix. No app, no software can fix that problem. That is a you problem. Yeah, I missed the entry. All right, we'll see if there's a pullback, but I certainly missed the entry. I knew I missed it too. Oh well. So if you guys want beta access to the, it's on the pin link. You can put your email in. I'm still working on it. It takes a lot of work, but we'll release it in phases once I got a good version 1 tested out. A lot of the journals that exist now, they suck. They suck. They're so boring. It feels like you're doing QuickBooks, your taxes on QuickBooks and shit. It's so boring. I made my own journal and I've made it interactive. I made it tailored to my experience, what I look for, what I'm interested in, how it serves me. The journals that exist right now, they don't give any of that. It's very robotic, very boring. It's like soulless material or stuff that they do. Yeah, this continues to break out. Well, I think I'm done here. Honestly, like I'll look for a continuation because there's probably going to be an IB high trade to trade into, but I missed the entry. I fucked up. I missed it for sure. It was holding over VWAP. I mean, I could have got another entry there. I just did not like the entry because my question to myself is like, where's the stop? Is it going to be 20 points lower? Like I don't. So I missed it. Oh well. No, bro, it was an open drive. Fuck off. Right back up. Oh shit. So move back down. Yeah, I mean, I think the reclaim is like the 37, 38 area. So if you go back to the full session overnight, it's going to be here. Let me move this over here. Move another one. Where were we rejecting? Oh, the level got moved around. I think it's 37 from what I remember last night, right around here. So 37 to 40, around there. Just target wherever the IB is. The best entry, if they give it, like the best scenario I can chalk up would be just like anywhere near VWAP, really. Like I'm more inclined to want to be long near VWAP than anything else. I just don't know if they'll give me that. Because the way it's rallying right now, it just seems like it's just going to continue to just just grind up. I might not even get that as reclaim entry either. Like they might just continue to rally this. Because this is just like, look at this, one time framing up. It was just a crazy grind up, bro. They're about to break the overnight high too? What the fuck? That's that's rare instance where they break both. Who do you think you are, young man? Yeah, it's like, but 37s give or take is the, if they can reclaim. So like come back to, again, the ideal scenario is like we come back to 27. That'd be ideal. That's where VWAP is right now, somewhere on there. But if they do a like push into here, the reclaim area to long for continuation is the 37, 38 area, I would say. That's where we rejected a few times overnight. It's right here, overnight, right before the open. It's kind of where we broke down from too, overnight. This little pivot area here. It's like 40, 38, 37, like you said. That would be like pivot, reclaim spot. I don't know if they give it to you. Look at this. It's just fucking melting. That's on the volume trading here. It's just melting higher. Whatever they did in the morning with the NQ was just a fucking shakeout. Which is quite common for the first of the month. They do shit like this on the first of the month where they like to do deeper pullbacks than normal on the first. I was surprised they didn't do it overnight though. Normally those kind of pullbacks, they do them during the overnight session. Watch the NQ here. It's looking like it's not reclaiming VWAP. Might get a little pullback on the S&P. Yeah, it's an insane rally. Yeah, it's about. I mean, look, the Dow. If I had to put a standard deviation band on it, probably at the third. It's at the third or something. Let me look. Yeah, it's very parabolic leg. It's like a little bit above the second standard deviation on the S&P. Where's the YM at? Yeah, the YM is on the third standard deviation. The YM is literally trading at the third standard deviation. And it's actually funny because it tested the third standard deviation from below, and now it's testing it from above. So it went pretty extreme both ways. Let's see what the NQ does. If this thing fails, I might not even take that long at VWAP, because here's going to be critical for me right now, because this is it's an anomaly for sure. I want to see what the NQ does here. If it doesn't hold the value low, I do not like longs on the S&P, because that means that the failed breakdown on the NQ is going to potentially come here at the priority low. So I might wait for the NQ to put in a test of the PDL. If it does fade below this area, and see what price that may be on the S&P. My assumption it'll likely be around here. And I like this spot because there's two areas for take profit, right? So there's like, you get the long here at the VWAP, you get the 37 take profit, and then you potentially get the IB high as the final take profit zone. Because the time is 7:17, yeah. So you get two areas for targets above if you get an entry near VWAP, which I like. But I don't know if the S&P can trade that low. I think the only way it does if the NQ fails here and comes into the priority low. Then at that point I would assume S&P comes around here. Is that spread? Yeah, Dow's pulling back now. Bro, you keep changing my thing. Stop it. I know it's an open test drive. My journal keeps changing my stat. This morning was an open test drive. That's what I mean. Let me open it up here. So you got an open inside inside priority high or low. First 15 minutes, the first 5 minutes, literally, I think it was the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, literally within the first 5 minutes, probe the overnight low, open test drive. It did open, and then I wouldn't say it's a long wick, but I guess on the 15 minute certainly was. Volume spike. Volume I wouldn't say was very great, but then reversed sharply through the open. So I came back to the open. It wasn't sharp. So it opened, tested the overnight low, and then reclaimed. Put in a wick right here. It says long it, probe down, stop below the probe high. Oh, this is if you're short. Trade with it. Long on a probe down. Yeah. It's a lot of volume trading up here. All right, what's going on with the Nasdaq here? It's still weak. It's not able to hold above VWAP. Yesterday it was parabolic. Today it's just chilling. Went out the Nasdaq here. All the chips are red. Okay. Yeah, KLAC is down 7. Lam Research is down 6. AMAT's down 5.8. ASML is down 4. MU's down 6. AMD down 4. Intel down 5. NVIDIA down 2. Yeah, they're getting wrecked, all the chips. That's what it is. Yesterday, it's funny because these were all up yesterday, so they're pretty much flat day over day. Here's the heat map. The reason the NQ is lagging here a little bit. Down 7, 6, 5, 4, 4, so on. I don't know why the Dow's not here. Just like removed the Dow. Anyway. That is a 722. It could be, I mean, yesterday the gamma faded out, meaning like at least the walls that I had, they worked in the morning at the open, but then in the afternoon, they were no longer relevant. I think it was right here. I think the gamma wall is here at 37 yesterday. It worked for the initial dip, but then after that, it just used it as support, and it continued to trend. As we kind of go through the session, if we come back where this put wall is later in the day, I wouldn't really trust it too much. But we'll see. I'll probably refresh the gamma levels later, if depending on how this goes. Mike's okay. What does that mean to you, my friend? What does it mean when XOK is negative? It's one sector, but what does that mean to you? Yeah, I know what it is, but like my question is, what does it mean to you? Right, you put it in the chat. Like, when you share that, what are you sharing? Like, what are you implying? What are you doing with that information? Is my question. It's like how do I say, like yeah, I understand it's the weight, but like the other sectors balance it out. You can see the S&P is outperforming fine. The Dow is doing really well. So are you using it as a lean to be short the Nasdaq? Or are you using it as a mean reversion short to short the S&P here? Because it's like me saying, look, the sun's out today. Right? It's like it's morning, like the sun's out. Like, what does that mean to you is what I mean. Give me some context, some depth here. Right? Like, I like sharing information. I love it. But like, give me some context. Are you saying that the S&P should be a short here because XOK is down and it's 40% of the composite weight? I don't know. I don't want to guess. I'm making assumptions on what you may be saying. I'm assuming that's what you mean, but I don't know. Because I mean, you can say the same about you can see the same about polysoxyl today. What's soxyl at? Let's look at it. Is it red? Soxyl's probably red, and that's a heavyweight too, right? An ETF for it's an ETF for chips. It's down 11% today, right? That's a huge, you know, divergence there too. I like when things align. Okay. Is XLK have chips? Let me see. I don't know if it does. I think I might have some of them. Does XLK? It does. It does actually. Interesting. As AMD, Intel, Lam Research, MU, and Nvidia. So yeah, chippies. The chippies are red. It's kind of like what I said earlier when I was showing the heat map. The chippies are weighing on the Nasdaq today. And NQ will have a hard time. Yeah, I agree. And you can see that, like, that's probably why it's stuck at VWAP. It can't really break out. Whatever can keep me out of bad trades. I'm assuming you're going to be cautious on longs. But what do you trade? Are you trading the S&P or are you trading the Nasdaq? Like right now, I see the Nasdaq as like a clean short setup. But I don't trade the Nasdaq, so I will not be taking it. Not shorting NQ, doing nothing right now. Okay. IB formed. See if they break the IB high here. They break it and I really have nothing. Boom, boom. Here's the NQ getting a little bit of a fade. Got to get below that overnight low though to truly say it's a breakdown. Again, I'll be interested if we can trade, if Nasdaq can trade below all this into the prior day low, and see what they can do, if they can hold or not into the prior day low. There's the S&P fading a little bit. Okay, here's NQ to the Valley low. Overnight low, same area. They're lined up today. NQ still keep going lower. It's not really bouncing too much. It's a tough trade for you and do the opposite. Yeah, I mean, there's very few days where you're gonna have true alignment, and you know, if you need that, that's fine. But I just like what I will say is like when there's alignment in all sectors that you're looking for, specifically financials and tech, typically they're not going to be in alignment every single day. There's always gonna be divergences. I mean, if you go back 2 weeks ago, there was like divergences every single day. Along with part of last week, some days were divergent completely. There was a few days where it was not. I think yesterday was a full-on rally. I think if I had to look at all sectors, they moved in tandem. It's a good barometer for strength overall. You know, if you're using it for a trend day to kind of expand or hold trades or trail trades. If there's alignment, it's just not gonna happen every day where they align. But it's a good monitor. It's a good thing to have. for expectations, and also when there's a trend session afoot, you can dictate that easily by looking at the sectors. If they're correlated, there's definitely a high chance of them breaking and continuing. So NQ tested the value low and then put in a little bounce here. See if it's a real bounce or not. Yeah, you know, I actually like this as a short here. Let's see if they NQ has to fade out though. Because if the NQ is holding here and this is a true retest and hold, and this is just gonna go higher. So what it did is it broke out, reclaimed the overnight low, and right now it's testing from above. And if it wants to validate and hold, that's great. But if it's just a bounce to fade, then you know it's not a good one. And that's a good counter rotation against short against the S&P, against the IB high. So we'll see. We're still within yesterday's prior day high and low, so we're not really moved. We're inside day so far. I'm watching NASDAQ here because it's certainly, I don't see a scenario where it can break above VWAP right now. So I like the divergence trade here on the S&P if it drags it lower. My assumption, what I assume can happen is if it fails to bounce here, it's gonna unfortunately be able to take out the IB low and then also trade out the prior day low. Because the NQ has not broken the IBH either. And it seems like it's more prone to breaking the IBL than the IBH right now on the NQ. I'll try it here on the S&P, but I'll try it tight. It's gonna be a tight trade. Yeah, it is. But again, like, how often does that happen? Do you see that happening? Like, how often is that trade setting up for you? You know, when you look for that alignment. Now, when it is, it's high quality for sure. Not opposite signs, like they're moving in tandem. Most days they move in tandem. Okay, that's good data to have. I'll go to 38s on this. 38. And then trail from there. More definitely do more than 8. All right, so again, the reason I even tried this short is, again, divergence on the NASDAQ. My assumption is that it's closer to trading to the IBL than it is the IBH. So I'm shorting the S&P here on the weakness here. And the key thing, though, is... So the key thing here is the NASDAQ has to break below this area. Otherwise, I'm going to get stopped out. So it has to break down, right? It has to continue the weakness and then trade the IBL. But my take profit on this short is going to be once the NQ breaks or gets near the IBL for the session. That's where I want to take off majority of this trade off. Because if it trades near the IBL / prior day low on the Nasdaq, if it does, my assumption is they'll go for a failed breakdown of that area. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, here's the stop, but they're gonna take. Thing is, like, Nasdaq's not having much of a pull on the S&P this morning, because the S&P pulled back maybe like 4 points on that, not even much. Why? Because I like I just like the risk to reward ratio there. Like, I can take it in big size and have a tight stop. I could take a larger size trade with a tighter stop because the invalidation is going to be pretty quick. Because the assumption, the second scenario, the second assumption was that they would not break the IB high, and they would save the IB high break for later in the day. So then, you know, I would feel protected as well for a long thereafter. But they didn't do it that way. There's a couple things that played into that, you know. Here's the break of the Valerie low on NQ. Just keeping a close eye, see if this is a failed probe or a real probe down into this area. With you on short something, I think the easiest short setup, like I said it multiple times, like I think the easiest short setup was certainly the NQ. But I just don't touch it. So I'm more concerned when I trade the NQ. I have my head on a swivel, so I don't like to trade it. I'm not comfortable with the NQ. So my mistake to not short it, but it was the most apparent short. I took some profit here if it hits at 42.5. There you go. The next scale I will put in is when the NQ breaks that IBL. If it breaks it, I will scale more. And then I'll scale more as it breaks the prior day low. So, I mean, I hope the idea made sense when I did take the trade on the S&P. I know it was early, so Jim, you're not wrong. Like, I should have waited for the real break. But the reason I entered it early was my assumption was that they would not break the IBH. And they would save the IBH break for later in the day. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that. I mean, they already broke it, so we'll see. So my assumption is like this would not happen right here, and we would come into something like this. The NQ would trade down here, put in a failed breakdown, and this would be the long for a break of the IBH, right? Kind of like the area you said, Jim. So my assumption is like this would stay untouched, and they would save it for this probe and long, and I can get long here for a test of the IB high, something like that. Yeah, it's a thing, one risk and getting more contracts. Yeah, so it was a risk reward thing because I know I could risk around $300. It was 370 was the risk. I know I could get away with a tight risk with a larger reward for the trade if I was in early, with the assumption that they would not break the IBI high, which they did. So that was wrong on my end because I didn't think they would do it. That was a variable as part of like my analysis. And then the fact that the NQ was weak, I figured it would test the IB low. So I know I could scale the S&P for more points than I was risking off bat, because whatever the spread between the Nasdaq and the S&P would be on the Nasdaq taking out the IBL and where the S&P is would be greater than my stop loss if the trade hit. I wouldn't say the trade has hit yet, right? I took profit early because I don't want to be short this kind of parabolic leg, but yeah, I mean, I don't know where I left off on that, but I hope it makes sense when I took the trade. Try to explain it as I'm going. No, I don't encourage. A second, actually. I don't encourage like the. Give me a second. I don't encourage like the off-the-cuff trades like this that I took. Like, I don't encourage that kind of behavior. Like, it was an off-the-cuff setup. Because most times, like similar to yesterday and what's happening right now is like, I'll have an off-the-cuff entry like I did yesterday on the short, and most times I end up regretting it because they don't work very well. Like, they work initially, but if you don't take profits aggressively, they just don't work. So like yesterday, for example, like the short setup worked at the 37s. I think I took it at 37s. And I scaled at 28, and then again at 17, 18 or something. And then I added more at 30s, but then I get it stopped out, right? So like that was an off-the-cuff entry because of the large gap. And it didn't work. And this looks like a failed breakdown right now. I don't know what level this is. It's highlighted on my chart, or why it's highlighted. It looks like they did a failed breakdown here. Or a reclaim. You know, they probe below it and then reclaim this little support. That was support over during the end of the day. Now look, here's my stop loss right there. They're likely going to take it. NQ. See, this is what I mean. Like, this is exactly why I wanted to take profit. They didn't want to see this happen. Them trade below the very low and then try to reclaim back above again. So I'm glad I scaled out when I did, because it was a fucking trap. Yeah, and a reclaim for a long, yeah. But I mean, to be fair, Jim, like I said it a little lower, but yeah, you're not wrong. Like this whole area, your zone, you're correct. That was the area, and look at tapped IBH right there, and then it just kind of teetering here. But you're right. Like earlier, this was the discussed reclaim for a test of the IBH. So I'll let it trail me out on the rest, but yeah. The YM's kind of chilling out right now after that big move. Let's see if this NQ reclaim's real. If it's real, it should stop me out. If it's not, and because there's still a target here in play, and that's the IB low on the NASDAQ. So if the IB low is still a target for the downside move, then this reclaim here on the NASDAQ is not real. But I don't know yet. I need to give it time. So if the NQ fails to reclaim, and it's just this little pop we're having, it's just a little short-term bounce on trap sellers or support buyers, but it flushes out again, then it's coming straight to the IBL and potentially the prior day low. And that's where I'll scale the rest of this trade. So either I get stopped out on this remainder of the position, or I get to scale some more out of it if the NQ fails. So we'll see which come first. Here's the NQ. Still teetering, same spot. Nothing's really changed. It's just kind of figuring out what it wants to do. My assumption is lower, to be honest. It's a very weak bounce. But we'll see. The S&P doesn't seem to be fazed by it because the Dow continues to press. Let's see, man. Is it, bro? All right. Chill. Wait. Relax. love you. In this situation, I would like to add to the short here, but I'm not going to. Because the NQ is still teetering here, it's failing to reclaim so far. This would hint for me to want to add to the trade, but I can't do that. I can't justify adding to it given how strong the S&P is intraday comparatively. If there was overall net weakness or just neutral price action on the S&P here and not so much the outperformance, I would be more open to it. But because it's performing so well, the Dow is literally at the high of day again. So holding shorts for the IBL. Okay. We'll see, man. The NQ is very trappy, so it's hard for me to trust the NQ, which is why I took profits early. I said this before too, and like I don't trust the NASDAQ. I always struggle to trade it because it just fakes out a lot. It fakes out a lot to the downside. But as of right now, since the morning's price action, given the overnight price action, and then now, there's definitely weakness on the NASDAQ. Hold in the short. This was just outstanding analysis and then execution. Okay, correction off that part. Hey, thanks, man. I tried to give as much info as possible when I was entering the trade. I hope that it was useful, you know, at least like the thought process behind it. Or whatever. So yeah, if NQ reclaims here, it should push higher. The S&P should push higher. Because look, it just wicked again. That damn NQ. Here's the NQ recovering back into the overnight low, Valerie low area. It's just continues to do the same thing. Another sweep of the high there on S&P. I think it made a new high. Did it make a new high? I think so, by like a tick or something. And then rejection from below on NQ. This is fucking annoying. We got like, you got two different extremes trading. And this is funny because like 2 weeks ago, it was like the YM was trading at an extreme and the NQ was trading at another extreme and the S&P was doing nothing. Today it's completely different. Like the S&P, it's taught me out. Did it even hit the fucking, my stop was at 75. What? Is it okay? It's hitting it now. That was bullshit. Like, I hate when they take my stop. I don't know if like maybe Sierra's is maybe faster on the data than Jigsaw. I don't know. But anyway. That's it. I'm not gonna take another stab at that. NQ I think is just trapping, to be honest. I mean it's choppy. It's choppy, let's just say that. Like if there's a full conviction move lower, I don't mind trying it again, but way smaller size. Because the NQ is still teetering here at that decision point. Right there. So it's either gonna break out and the S&P is gonna break into the 70s. The priority high. or it's gonna continue to just like go lower again. I really don't know. Nasdaq's fucking annoying today. The easy trade is definitely just to be long. They say they'll buy all open sells at open sell level. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Very bullish. Okay, cool. Let's not go Kendrick. Here, oh, there's the NQ pushing. Getting momentum now, going into VWAP. I gotta think how. It's 8 o'clock. Keep an eye on the Nasdaq here. It hasn't broken IBL or IBH yet. It looks like they're gonna want to take the eye behind then. That breakout on the S&P is just massive right now. It's like one time framing up on a 1 minute chart. Look at this. Well, there you go. There's your little reclaim here that's set up. Pro below, reclaim, went higher. And Q is messy, but it's still teetering here. Did they hit the 40 exactly? Oh, they did. Huh. That same level you said. I didn't even see what exactly the low was, Jim, but they hit the 40 exactly. Right? Oh, I cleared my delta already. What is flying today on the Dow, bro? Let's see. Watch the NQ here. It still hasn't broken above VWAP. Watch it. It's not really, it's still kind of teetering here. I'm not looking for a gym. I said Dow. YM. Oh. Today's performers. Okay, Microsoft, CRM, Apple, and Nike. Okay. You know, honestly, like, here's what helps me with the repetitiveness when unsure. Just take it small. One lot. Just because that repetition builds up over time. Right? So, like, if you're scared, then just trade it smaller. Where it won't matter to you. Where, like, literally it will not matter to you. Like, 1 micro should not matter, right? Like, 1 micro will not dent anything. Just try it. Right? 1 micro won't do anything to the P&L, but it certainly will help your conviction and your practice in getting that execution. 1 micro. Just 1. The compounding return off of just trying to trade in a 1 micro is not going to make an impact on your P&L performance wise, but certainly mentally it's much more beneficial. The net compound effect is way more beneficial again from the Meta pops 10%. Really? Meta's at 10% too. Shit. That probably explains a lot of the strength here. The compounding effect of just trying it small is much more beneficial. You know? Still watching the NQ here. It seems like it's holding okay at the Valerie low. Okay, well, I mean, I'm glad you're trying it. Yeah, you know, you understand that that's something you can do, and so, you know. And the transparency you're giving is also important. I appreciate that. You know, being honest with yourself is probably one of the most important things as a trader. See what the NQ does here. Ideally, if it rallies, that'd be awesome, because then the NQ, S&P can go to all the way to 90s. The 590s, if it does end up breaking and holding above VWAP. There's NQ again, a little bit of weak. I mean, if the NQ just ends up basing here into New York lunch, or Euro, even Euro closes coming up in 30 minutes, my assumption is just defaults higher. If it just bases here, it doesn't really break down at all over a period of time, it's just going to default to go higher. Well, today missed the entry. Reclaim was like around the 18s. I was looking for something specific, or test the VWAP, come back in, revisit 18, get long, and then take it higher. But no, the entry was on the hold over the 18s instead of waiting for the retest. And the reason it was 18, it was right here, this overnight high. It only wicks down, yeah. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. This is like, The 18s is right here. This little area. Just reclaimed above it. I was hopeful that it would test, come back in, and then get long from there, but it didn't do that. NQ for IBH. Yeah, I mean, let me see, what's the 135, 70. I mean, I'm just looking at the profit. If it's 1-to-1, I guess it's reasonable. 330. Just say it's 330 minus 315. Oh, sorry. No, 330 minus 215, 115. 215 minus, what, like, what's the low there? 135, give or take, so a few points below. Yeah, it's over 1-1. I'll say, yeah, definitely. If you can get a fill like anywhere, I guess anywhere here, more or less. It's like a little bit over 1-to-1 on the NQ if you get a fill around midpoint of the current price. Like I don't like a stop at risk 220 below 200. Nah, I don't see, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if that's where you're putting stops. For me, the stop has to go below the lowest low of the recent one down here. You would not survive a stop right here at 200. I don't think. Like, you might get lucky a few times, but if we're talking about taking this trade over a series of days on end or over time, you're gonna get wicked out putting a stop at 200. That's literally the structural level. This is where the structure exists, right? Like, this is where you should not place your stop. For me, the stop has to go below this area. That's why you get stopped out so much, yeah. Like, it's got to go structural, somewhere structural, right? Yeah, I could never justify a stop there. It wouldn't make any sense. I would guarantee myself a stop out. Again, you might not get stopped out like today, but if you take that trade tomorrow or the next week, you will get stopped out. Like, you have a high chance of getting stopped out. There's going to be very few instances where you will not get stopped out. And what will happen is you'll get wicked out and then you'll have to chase it higher. And yeah, the chasing part is really where the problem is. Like, when you start chasing, you get a negative skew on the risk to reward, and you know, and then that leads, it's like a slippery slope. You chase and you're like, oh, you know, size it bigger because I'm chasing it, type stop. I'll tighten the stop this time around because it's already moving, and then it comes back, stops you out again, so on and so forth. Yeah, so like, I know that game. I played it before, you know. And it's not fun. Not fun. The Friday high is right below us. We almost hit the Friday low on the S&P. Friday high, sorry. I think I said Friday low. We're a few ticks away. I haven't had quite the feel for this as an auction. That's what's BOR? Sorry, I don't know what that means, but I haven't caught quite the feel for this auction. Right, it's my R. Yeah, like sometimes I see people trading the Nasdaq with like 15-point stops, and I'm like, how? I'm like, how? It's crazy to me. Oh, bottom of range, okay. Like right now, the S&P shifted regimes. Talking about buying a bottom of range. The S&P has shifted a regime where breakout trades are working. Like you consider yesterday's action, we broke out above overnight high, and they used the overnight high as support for a break above the IB high, and then the IB high broke out late day. That was not action we were getting 2 weeks ago during that 4-day balance period here, right? Like if you were not buying at bottom of range, you were getting chopped up during this period. The regimes change, right? Right now, like you're buying, you can buy breakouts and they're working. Why? Likely because we're finally out of a range and we're in a breakout mode. Until we get to about here, probably the 90s, then things kind of get a little stiff, which I'm sure we'll test today. Because the NQ is recovering here, about to go for the IBH. Yeah, the first standard deviation for the week is 85s, which is near the prior month value high at 96. That's a retest of NQ. 260. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, I would say honestly, it's like going to be the IBH continuation. Like I see this as one whole range. Give me a sec. I see this as one whole range right here. These are the failed. These are the probes below that failed. You know, if we're looking at this at a structure, I think the setup is like test the first standard deviation, come back, hold VWAP, and then go higher. Test this band first. Right, let it break out, test the band. This tells you there's momentum, and then wait for a breakout back above the range and fail, and then continuation thereafter. Right, because this VWAPs can be like a midpoint, and it's near the high of the session for the open. If it tests the first standard deviation, this tells me that there's momentum to the upside, right? If it probes into it and then comes back below. It's trading the edges of the range. I don't know where that would lie though. The band, yeah, the blue band right there is the first standard deviation of VWAP, yeah. So these are VWAP standard deviation bands on the NQ. I have another chart in the S&P where I have the standard deviations on VWAP too. But if you look at the S&P, it's trading above the first standard deviation. Right? It's following the Dow closely. So it broke out above first standard deviation, and then this was like a breakout within the breakout. I'm sure if I have the other standard deviation bands, like the second one's like right here, and we're trading probably like a third standard deviation right now. I have on my phone, let me see. Where's the one? Yes. Yeah, it's trading above the second standard deviation. And then the third standard deviation is at 673. So like almost like what I drew here. I'm sorry, not 73. It's at 83. So kind of like what I drew here. The second standard deviation right now is like this. This thing is parabolic, bro. Oh shoot, it's coming for that 85, 95 area. It's a value area for a monthly profile. There's some selling hitting the tape. NQ probed IB high. Let's see if it holds it or not. The reason I'm still sitting here watching this is because I don't know if the NQ is going to put in a failed break here and come back lower and break down. How are chips doing? Let me look at my stocks here. Yeah, Stoxel is down 14%. So it's down even more than it was earlier. You didn't look at it. Oh, on the higher time frame? Or you mean like the move up of the last few days? They just like ripped the last few days. They rip. Today is just consolidation. They ripped up in the total been above that line. Oh, you mean like what retest? Oh, I don't really mark the failed breakdowns on NQ. I don't. The thing is, like, I don't trade it, so I just don't chart it the same way for the failed breakdowns. What I know back of mine is that it's had a ripper of a past few sessions since Friday. I know that for sure. I just don't have a reference for structurally where it is to the most recent significant low. He's like a good job. Parabolic, yeah. I'm impressed by the Dow, bro. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened with the Dow. Sorry. I don't know where. I can't look at the heat map on Thinkorswim. For some reason, it's not showing the Dow on the heat map right now. But I wanted to open one. Let me see if I can just search one up. But a lot of this leg, like the Dow is just. I mean, look at the Dow. It's one on top here. Yeah, why did I go on YouTube? What the fuck? A 590s. I mean, that's what the newsletter said too. I mean, I saw that as the target potentially. I didn't know if it was today or tomorrow. Tomorrow's a short, and then we have a holiday on Friday, right? Yeah, so we're closed Friday again. It was a short week, but I was either today or tomorrow they would hit that area. So like at the morning, I missed the long. I said it a couple times, well, many times actually. I said I missed the entry long on the S&P. Like I missed it. I wasn't gonna chase it, so. The NQ. I wouldn't say the NQ messed me up, but what messed me up was me waiting for. It's just that I was waiting for it to retest this area right here. That's it. You know, like I wanted it to come in, test, and then validate the 18 reclaim right here. I guess the optimal entry would have been just buying a starter. You know, it was just the NQ pullback, yeah. Well, yeah, the NQ had a strong weakness off the open. It was really weird. Like it opened. I mean, I guess it wasn't weird because the chips were the reason it was weak, but it opened at the overnight low, literally hovering over the overnight low on the NQ. That's a very rare open for it. So it kind of messed things up because I was already long from last night at the 15s. I had a runner left. So yeah, I got trailed out because I added more too at the open. CRM, Nike, IBM, Microsoft. Looks like a few things are just like green on it. On the Dow, but they're green massively because it's really consolidated. The Dow only has 30 stocks, but it looks like software is getting bid, and so is Microsoft, which are huge market caps. Specifically these two. There's a lot of volume trading here right now on the S&P. Shit. Like this amount of volume trading right now, we haven't seen this amount of volume trading in a while. Look, if you look at all the days, the last time we had it here near the end of the... Oh, this was morning? I guess there was quite a bit here. Last few sessions, not so much. It's been kind of slow. But yesterday was quite a bit of volume too. And then into the close yesterday was quite a bit of volume. Into the close. Selling. And then right now is just a lot. Like, the notional value of these lots here, 1,000 lots on the S&P is like a few hundred million. Let me see. The notional value is... Yeah, you really gotta meet... Come on, bro. Yeah, it's 180 million for 500 lots. So we got how many of those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Within this price point, 6 times, just say 180,000 or 80 million times 6. You got $1 billion worth of notional volume traded. And the markets are very liquid, so that's not necessarily to say it's a lot, but in a small price area, it is a lot. $4.30. They're currently holding above the current week value high. That's like breakout territory right now. Right, so the week value high is right here at 70. What is it? I can't even see the price. 65, let's just say. Yeah, 65. So as long as we are above this, is breakout territory. We'll see if it holds or not. See what you asked earlier about like the NQ long continuation. Like this to me is a weak push. I would have loved to see it hit the first innovation and then pull back. When it does this, when it doesn't test that first innovation, to me tells me it's a weak push, and that the retest is not really as high quality. On the breakout on the NQ, it's not as high quality. Yeah, roll that motherfucker up. like getting. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean for sure. I'm pretty sure the volume is gonna taper off significantly, like into New York lunch. I'm almost certain. Like most times, volume drops off big from here, from like New York lunch here until next week. Like they leave after this. Volume just like leaves, tapers off after this. Here's a higher time frame view right now. It looks very good. All right, you have a massive reclaim right here. Let's put it down here. This is a higher time frame reclaim on the 4-hour. Right here. Right. Any dips now that hold that can come back into 20s that hold, you're likely to target this area. And then after that, the next reclaim is 600. It's clearly the line in the sand here for the next reclaim above that. Right. Above 600 is the next reclaim, which is it lines up perfectly with the value high from 2 months ago. The holding above 600s is another reclaim above that. Here's the NQ back at VWAP. Back at the WAP. See what NQ does here. It's back into the VWAP. We're in a kind of like a nimble area where ES is trading above the parity high for a continuation expansion, and the NQ is teetering above the breakout above VWAP. So if it can hold VWAP, I would assume the S&P can just continue to grind out into that 585, 590 area. But if it tucks back in, we might just probe into the 60s or so. Oh wow, the Dow just made another... Dude, that Dow keeps flying, bro. I just looked at it again. Look at this thing. Just fly. Dow fly. And this is the chips. They're kind of in a downtrend. The chippies. Time is I'm waiting for Claude to stop timing me out. 9:10. I got 30 minutes before I can start using Claude again. What's the value high? 554. And Q is still teetering here, bro. Volume is pretty thin now. I mean, I don't know. I might blow expectations. If the NQ somehow fails to hold this area and actually does dip, I think it's still long even if it breaks that parity low. Right here. I just don't know if that's what it needs in order to get actual conviction going. It needs to break the parity low. Telling you once again. Besides plan levels, I feel like you mean like seeing levels as they develop through the session? Or what do you mean place a trade instead of take the trade right then? Besides plan levels, I fail to like a level and then say to myself, if I see this after I like some, then I will. Oh, you mean like create a scenario? Like create a if this and that kind of scenario? Like formulating like a thesis, or I don't know what to call it. I guess that's one as they develop. Yeah. I mean, this is just years of experience. It's hard. What helps is like, here's what helps. You just look for the same thing every single day. like on the fly, like scenarios. Like they're on the fly, like the one I had this morning, because like I'm trying to think of a parallel here. Like the on the fly scenario I created, it's easy, or I can do it because I use the same static levels every single day. So because I use the same static levels every single day, I already know if this happens, then this is possible. If that happens, then this is possible, because I'm always using the same references every single day. So if you go back to the trade, like the reference I was using was the IB. I use the IB every single day. So I because I've used it repetitively over so many periods and days and years, like coming up with scenarios is second nature, because I'm always referencing the same zones. Right? It's like always looking at that. It's like, I don't know, like I don't watch sports, but let's just say you watch one team. They run the same playbook the whole season. You know which playbook they're likely to run that season because they've been executing it time and time again when certain things are happening, right? When they're maybe, I don't know, let's say football, for example, they're 20 yards away from, or mid of the field, they go for the throw instead of a run. A specific team has that playbook. I don't know. I don't really watch sports, but just trying to draw like parallels here. I run the same playbook all the time because, and then so I can come up with scenarios on the fly because of that, because it's the same playbook over and over. I'm always just I'm always seeing the same things, looking for the same things every single day. So like in football, or let's just say that's the only example I can think of right now. So, do you know that for sure? Like when they're like third down, they're in their infield, 40 yards in minimum or maximum, they're gonna punt it every single time. There's like a high probability there's a punt there for sure. And so it's kind of similar here. Or they're fourth down, 20 yards, 30 yards away from the goalpost, they're going to punt for the 2 points or whatever. It's kind of the same thing. Like that trade was somewhat of a punt because I knew I could get away with a tight risk reward trade. NQ is breaking down again. I think I see this as a short setup again. It's gonna be a tight trade though. To 54 for now, like 54.60, the value are high. And see if they see it back to 40, and I didn't see it, and I should have just entered long. I mean, you could always just put in like a limit order per se. You know, like a limit order that small size limit order to, if it tests the zone, you have skin in the game. It's not big enough where it's your full position, so you have room to add to the trade if it starts to structurally look better, if that makes sense. You can have a small tester at a level, comes back in, you get filled, great. Not much exposure where you're stressed about it, but also just enough so if you get a feel for the trade too. Like the zone you liked. Like last night, I had a limit order sitting at 490, 488 I had below the 490. I had a small position limit order sitting there overnight when I went to bed, but it never came and filled it. We'll see if NQ breaks down or not. Might not actually. It's just probably just again another trap to fuel higher, because it's just all it's doing is just kind of holding above the prior high, which is bullish. This is bullish price action, and so I might be just trapping myself, assuming this is gonna break down, and it's not. You know, like I think I'm just overthinking it in this situation. I think I should just not trade this at all, because all I'm doing is just trapping myself in an uptrend. As you clearly see, you got a breakout here. You got another breakout potentially above the priority high. And I'm being misled by this thing right here. So I might just need to cut this trade early and just call it a day, walk away. Honestly, I'm gonna do myself more by not trading the rest of the day as opposed to trying to nitpick this entry here on a setup that's just meant to trap. I don't need nobody. What I'll do is if it claims the session VWAP, I'll cut it and see what it does when it comes here. Nope. Yes, I want to. Where is the Dow at right now? Yeah, this thing's flying up 0.5%. Something crazy, but whatever helps you too. I mean, Jim, you can like maybe always have a reference line, make some annotations on your chart, you know, like as the day goes on, have some notes for yourself to reference, and so that way when it comes back in, you're not caught off guard whether or not you're going to be entering a trade. You know, like when price broke above this neckline, I moved this horizontal line to 37.5, right? For me, that's my reference to say, okay, as a reminder, like this is an area we want to be long into or out of. As a reminder for myself, I do move my levels up on my chart, and if I need to, I make a note. And in some instances, I'll put a red thick line, says LIS, line in the sand, meaning like my bull thesis ends if price holds below this level, meaning I will not look for any longs if it breaks this area. We haven't come close to that this week. Last week we were hitting those areas. I had a LIS level below 96 on Tuesday, I think. And then from there, the next day when we gapped down, I had LIS at, I think, 52. It was 52, yeah. $54 is the current value high. So the current value high for the session is 54. There's a single print at 55.75. I don't know if they'll take it, but it's more or less, well, I'll take some profit on this if it breaks down. You have SMH at the low of the day, about to break a low. I can't drag it. There you go. You got the SMH right here at the low. Who knows if they break the actual low or if this is just gonna hold for now. Put an alert. And then we'll here watch. Boom. To horizontal line. It's blue. Oops. Boom. See? I don't want to see above that on the NQ. There's my LAS. these. Dude, the Dow is still going. Yo, fucking Dow, bro. This is impressive, I must say. Yeah, it's still going. It's near at the high of the day. Just made a new high. I'm impressed, bro. The Dow does not do shit like this often. This is a good rotation. So, like, under the hood, this is very bullish. Like, the 2 weeks where the NQ was underperforming 2 weeks ago, and a little bit into last week, the Dow was the one doing the heavy lifting. It was getting most of the rotation. Fintech and financials, consumer staples, healthcare. And then right now it's the Nasdaq's underperforming, but the Dow is outperforming. So under the hood, very good. This is very strong performance by the Dow. You know, let's see what sectors are green today. Week over week, you got drone space, cybersecurity, cloud, robotics, biopharma, consumer staples. Interesting. I would think these are doing a lot better than they are. Energy's down, nuclear. The year-to-date still chips, quantum computing. Interesting. That must have been recent. Cybersecurity, pretty decent. Drones are coming back after they dipped. EVs, interesting. Well, there's only a few sectors that are underperforming. Cloud, really. Everything else for the year is green. Healthcare underperforming. Financials, consumer staples, materials. More concerned with the week over week. Seems like cybersecurity and Cloudflare and software. Anyway, I'm gonna bounce, guys. This is boring at this point, you know. I'm gonna leave the trade where it is. If I get stopped out, that's fine. That'll be one. I'm only gonna be red 350. I don't know why the fuck that says. I'm only red 13 bucks. So if this stops me out, I'll be down half of my risk for the day, which is 350. Give or what is my stop at? 350. Yeah, it'll be 350 and some change. Half my daily risk, which is nothing. Which is fine. I don't want to see NQ above VWAP, so that's my line in the sand on this trade. But overall, it's just like yesterday. Just like yesterday. The only difference is we had a stronger pullback in the morning, but we consolidated under the IB, broke out, now above the prior day, and it looks like it's looking for another breakout. Another breakout today. I'm obviously on the wrong side of the trade. You know, you can see clearly here I'm in drawdown or whatever. I'm fine with that. Call it a day after this. I missed the entry long. I reviewed my journal. My journal the journal told me I should have been more aware of what it was saying, but it said here. So here's the open test drive, right? We had an open test drive, and it didn't ask me a question. It says price versus the ETH VWAP at open. It was at VWAP. So it was telling me that the entry is on the hold above VWAP on the second cross above it. And then the scale is to scale at the first standard deviation up, which was at 538. So I could have entered at 23, 27, got a 10-point squeeze, and then the second runner just move into the second standard deviation. So something to review for myself here in my notes. If I had just reviewed a little bit more of my journal intraday here in the morning, Yeah, I would have been at least been more comfortable with the entry above VWAP here at the 28. And the first recommendation was here. Watch, let me just show you. Here it is. I'll say levels. So it was like VWAP was the entry on the reclaim per the journal, and then scale here 60%. So it was like 38, and then just runner after that. Pretty much what the journal said. Check it out. Crossing VWAP, first probe, real move. Standard deviation 1 is the T1, target 1. Target 2 is the second standard deviation runner, so trail. It says here, if price crosses VWAP for the third time, it's an open auction, exit and reassess. So if you had like a third probe of the VWAP below, then it's going to be an open auction, or in other words, it's going to be choppy. We never had that. We had a probe in the open, and then we had a reclaim, and it never came back to it. So, yeah, mismanagement, my man. You know the beach weekend. Okay, well, have fun, man. This weekend be rushed. It seems like it was to the upside. They rushed the momentum to the upside this week. Last week it was more chill, sideways market. This week was about rushing. And honestly, it's a historically bullish week. 4th of July week is historically green most of the time. But I'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow.